نستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. قال تعالى في القرآن الكريم إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. وقال تعالى فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروني ولا تكفرون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة إن الله مع الصابرين. Indeed, all praise you to Allah. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask for His help and His assistance. Just a quick announcement. Someone's asked me to make dua for their relative. Respected brother Asad is currently in hospital at the moment, awaiting results. May Allah ta'ala bestow hifadha and shifa upon him, as well as all of our brothers and sisters who have difficulty and hardship. May Allah ta'ala remove their hardships and difficulty. Our brothers and sisters in Aleppo at the moment, subhanAllah, are suffering great trials and tribulations. Subhanallah, may Allah ta'ala protect them and keep them safe, and our children there. Ameen. Brothers, the big story this week, as we know, is the tragic death of Asad Khan. May Allah ta'ala have mercy upon him and give sabr to his family. We'll go into a bit more detail a bit later on. And as we know, there's been many discussions we've had this week. Lots of people are talking about it. And there's been a massive emotional outpouring. And this is what happens when we have events like this. These are the events that we know about, but let me tell you, this is the tip of the iceberg. Below this, there are probably, even within our city here now, people that we know, people that we rub shoulders with every day, who are going through the same thing that our son, Asad, was going through. But we turn away. And it's no point being emotional about this unless this emotion is channeled into something which will bring about a positive change. You know, in a lot of the discussions that I've had this week regarding this tragedy, nearly everyone has come up with the same statement. And that is this statement. A lot of people say, I have a child that same age. I have an 11-year-old. I have a daughter and son who just started school this week, this month as well. People empathize. But I want you to realize, because this is the crux of the problem. Everyone says, I have a child, my son, my daughter. All of the children are our responsibility. And I want to say this, because I've seen a lot of the social media posts on this. We are all to blame. We are all to blame. We are all responsible for the death of this child. Directly, indirectly, I don't know. But that's how you have to see the urgency of what has taken place. These are our children, not just here in Bradford, but globally. You know, Islam, Muslims, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the seerah we've been given, we were at the forefront of telling the world how to treat children with respect, with honor. We gave hukuk to children, rights to children. Every child matters, comes from Islam. I want to mention a couple of stories. I want to begin with this story of Umar ibn al-Khattab. You've heard me say it before, and as you know, one of the things Umar radiallahu anh established in his time was that every child would be given the zakat. Every child would be given a stipend. And as we know, child benefit as we have it now originates from that practice. The first time in history, unprecedented, every child that was born from the Baytul Mal would be given a stipend, would be given a financial amount to support that child. Amazing, amazing, way ahead of its time. But when Umar radiallahu anh first established this, and I'm going to the story, it's amazing if you want to see it, it's online. When Umar radiallahu anh first established it, he put a limit that the child had to be of a certain age, i.e. post-weaning. A woman said to Umar radiallahu anh, "You have killed children. You have killed children." Umar radiallahu anh responded to her, he said, "How?" He says, "This was given as a stipend to children post-weaning. The children who needed it before that period of time. Many died because they didn't have that financial amount." Umar radiallahu anh immediately changed it so every child had that. But what's more significant about this is that Umar wept. He sobbed. He took every child that died as blood on his hands. He took the responsibility of every single child under his authority, under his leadership. And this is the problem, brothers and sisters. How many people, how are we really going to wake up after this? And this is not the first and it is not the last, and whether it's Muslim or non-Muslim, it doesn't matter. They are our children. There needs to be a change in the psychology. We have to be honest. I stand here so many times and I say the same thing. People may be getting tired of it. I was in Birmingham this week with a whole room full of imams saying the same thing. The youth are our most valuable asset. If we do not invest in them, if we do not take them under our care, if we do not mentor them, if we do not get involved in their lives, we are all destroyed, because we are already losing a generation. And the Asads are the ones we hear about, and those who are suffering. And I want to make it clear, you know, the level of mental health problems amongst our sisters in particular, and young teenage Muslim girls in this, because we do not deal with these issues. We have to be honest. You see, when I saw the pictures, I was away this week, I saw a lot of the pictures that were sent around. And no one made this connection, I think. Because again, it's this idea of burying our heads in the sand and not taking responsibility. So when I saw the pictures of where the family was, and I want you to think a bit about a mother finding her son in this state. I just really want you to think about the trauma and the distress. And 2 points here that people might not like me saying. When I saw the pictures, I saw there was a masjid there. I saw there was a masjid right next door to the house where the boy has died. And I think, why are they putting a picture of a masjid? Are they trying to associate Islam or the usual kind of Islamophobic? No, it's because that house where that boy lived was right next door to that masjid. A boy in distress could not even go to the masjid next door to speak to anyone about what he's going through in his life. What kind of a masjid was? And I'm not going to blame that particular masjid. We are all to blame. Every single one of us. Every single masjid, imam, anyone who takes an authority position. How many children are we failing every day? And that includes the bullies. And that includes the children who are themselves traumatized. All the headlines, mother, mother, mother. Where is the father in this? Not even making a comment? Of course he's going through distress. As I said, may Allah Ta'ala give them sabr and jamila. But to see this right next door to the masjid, what is the purpose of the masjid? Is it just to be a place, a beautiful building that we invest in? So we've got, so people can say, well, I've got somewhere to go. Or is the objective of the masjid to safeguard and protect everyone in that vicinity? And this is the wake up. When will we wake up? Like I said, everyone says, my children, our children. Taking responsibility for every child which is out there. This is the same week another child, another one of our youth is killed in a tragic, on a road crash. Their stories go on and on. But also, brothers and sisters, this is about a hypocrisy in our community. It's about a hypocrisy. Women are abused, children are exploited, we violate the rights of our neighbors. If we employ people, we cheat them. Okay, we leave our brothers. Okay, there's so many levels, brothers and sisters, in which we are failing as a community. And it comes down to the individualism that we have. And when this individual changes, when it knocks on your door, na'udhu billah, when it knocks on your door, then you will see who is there to help you and support you. We don't wish this. As I said, there's another report that came out this week, brothers and sisters, about young women and mental health problems. They said they are 39% more likely to suffer from mental health problems. That includes our sisters and girls which are out there. And the biggest influence is drugs and alcohol, peer pressure, social media, bullying. And it's not just the children, unfortunately adults are bullied as well. This bullying, this profound disrespect culture which has developed in our community. Disrespecting, violating rights. I mentioned it in the khutbah last week. We want respect. We want to be treated with dignity. We want to be treated with tolerance. We don't give dignity and tolerance and fair treatment to others. Yet we want this for ourselves. And this is the second story I wanted to mention because subhanAllah, this was a quality before Islam. And I might make the link. There was something called Hilf al-Fudul. Hilf al-Fudul is when the Arabs got together before the event. The Prophet ﷺ was at this particular delegation and convention. He got together and they made a pact to protect the weak, to stand up for justice, to make sure that people's rights would not be, if one person was set upon, everyone else would come to this is before Islam. These honorable, noble principles that were established. So this is, and then obviously perfected by the Prophet ﷺ. And so it comes back to our youth in particular, and the bullies. And everyone has had some experience of bullying. Why is it that we don't have this behavior amongst our children? Because this is from Islam. We stand up for the oppressed, for the downtrodden. We protect the mazloom and mustad'ifeen. We stand up for them. Not just, and this is the bizarre thing, if a woman is violated in Gaza, all of us are outraged. When she's violated here through domestic violence and abuse, everyone keeps quiet. And they say, and there is no equivalence to this. It is the same whether it is in Gaza or whether it is in the streets of Bradford. Standing up, especially men, especially people who have some kind of authority, who always seem to remain quiet or in denial that these things are taking. Standing up, we always show solidarity and protection of the weak against the oppressor. Why isn't this attitude inculcated in our shabab, in our youth? Where does this attitude come from? And it comes, and we have to say this, because everyone looks at solutions, and everyone's looking at where the blame is to be. Where does it come from? It's the family. It's the family. The family is the building block of the values, the attitudes, and the behavior. And the number of times, let's be honest, the number of times I've come across fathers in particular who encourage this violence amongst their children, encourage a criminal culture, encourage them to abuse and violate and exploit others because of this asabiyya, this superiority that they have. Oh, we are better than them people. We see it in schools across Bradford. I've seen it in school upon school, gang culture, victimization, bullying, bringing their brotherly issues. We're this group, they're that group. Bringing their sectarian issues, Pathans versus Bengalis versus whoever, Kashmiris. Bringing this Asabiyya, this Jahiliyyah. Who is going to do the re-education? It's different types of gangs. And then at the same time, you have children going through absolute turmoil. And this is another fundamental weakness that we have. Everyone's been saying, talk to your children, talk to your children. But really our children, and it's not just about talking to them and finding out what's going on in their lives. It's really investing in them. I've said it so many times here. You spend £1 million on a masjid. Look at the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ in Medina. The model masjid of every other masjid that comes from that. It was a simple structure, it was just a perimeter wall. To begin with, it was just a wall. And then they had the canopy that Ahl Suffah slept under. And the floor, there was no carpet, it was just rubble. And then one of the companions put kind of rubble down there. The Prophet said, what a nice carpet you have spread. There was no carpet. Because it was not about the structure, it was about the people who occupied the structure. The Prophet ﷺ developed the people, not the building. Why is it we've got this the other way around? We need to invest everything. And this is a wake-up call. I'm trying to wake myself up. You know, we all need to really say, how many more of these cases are we going to have? Everyone in this room. Don't just go away. Look at what you will practically do, not just for yourself and your family, that's your responsibility anyway. Try to change what you can change with your neighbor or with the children that you come into contact with. And I've said it, how many people we have who are professionals, who are skilled people, or knowledgeable people, experienced people in this Jama'at. They do not give back. It's easy giving money. But giving your time, your effort, your blood, your sweat, your tears, giving this for the next generation. We have to inspire our next generation. They are so disaffected. They are so lost. You know, and if you don't know this, get out there. And we still have this massive, unfortunate denial that is taking place. Just to go back onto the honor, which, to give you an example, the Prophet ﷺ, this is why bullying and standing against the bully and the oppressor is called to us. It's called. Was not the Prophet ﷺ victimized in Makkah? Were there not the weak and the downtrodden there, abused, victimized, tortured, abused, intimidated, harassed every day? Was that not happening in Makkah? And did not the Prophet ﷺ, look at it, have Abu Talib, okay, a non-believer as his protector? When Abu Talib passed away, as we know, he went to Ta'if because he couldn't stand it in Makkah anymore, the persecution. And as we know what happened to the Prophet ﷺ in Ta'if, he was humiliated and he was harmed by the people of Ta'if, fled, coming back to Makkah. And when he came back to Makkah, there was an honorable man who had this value: I stand up for the one who is oppressed. He was a non-Muslim. His name was Mutim bin Adi. He died upon his disbelief. His children, they converted to Islam. So Mutim bin Adi heard that the Prophet ﷺ wanted to come back into Makkah. So he got all his clan together. They put armor on. They brought their swords out. They went into the Kaaba and they said, no one will touch Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so Abu Lahab said to him, why? Have you converted to his religion? He said, no, because I will give him that protection. Now the point is this, that's our religion. Our religion is standing up for the one who is oppressed, not turning a blind eye. And the point is this, we need to get that into the mindset of our young people today, not to remain quiet. And that will only happen when we ourselves are the positive influences in our lives. You see, when we look at the reality of our young, and look, this is the beauty of our religion, subhanallah. The Prophet ﷺ, he spent time with the shabab. He nurtured them, he developed them, he empowered them. They went on to be the greatest nation ever raised up for mankind because of the investment that he gave. Look at Aisha radiallahu anha. You know, she's one of the greatest scholars and narrators of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the fourth greatest narrator. The first Jama' in Islam, Khadija radiallahu anha, then Ali and Zayd. When we look at, and the list goes on, Ibn Abbas and Ibn Umar, all these great companions radiallahu anhum are nurtured by the Prophet ﷺ, because the youth are the most valuable asset that we have. And if we do not nurture them, and if we do not develop them, we have no future. So therefore, if we spend £1 million on a masjid, you should spend the equivalent on the youth. Now people say that's impossible, we can't do that. And that is why you completely fail to understand, and we will reap the results of this. And I have to say, brothers, to wake us up, we have already lost Generation Y. Generation Y are connected to the social media world, to a materialistic world. They're disconnected from the values that we hold. We've already lost them. But what we can do is minimize the damage. We can minimize the damage by actually, like I said, every single one of us in this room, I hope we go away and we take some. There are many, many organizations out there, brothers, who are doing voluntary work, who are working in our communities, Muslim organizations, non-Muslim, it doesn't really matter, just as long as they are doing albir, goodness to our community. I want people to actually make an intention to give some of their time voluntarily to these initiatives. Otherwise, and don't go in there and say, oh, I'm a Muslim, come here to do that. No, just go in there because this is just the right and the correct thing to do. But also, brothers and sisters, it's about the mindset of the bullies as well. Unfortunately, I heard a lot of these comments. I've heard these comments such as, let's go get these boys. And unfortunately, when we have this emotional outpouring, we have misdirection. So people start putting misinformation out there, wrong people, wrong incidents. And as a result of that, we create even more turmoil. No, channel it. Don't get angry. I always say, as Malcolm X said, don't get angry, get intelligent. Channel it into something constructive, something that will build, not destroy even more. I have adult men saying, let's go beat these boys up. As if this will solve the problem. Anyone who knows anything about bullying will know themselves that most bullies themselves are victims at some point. And it all comes back to the family. And in particular, this disrespect culture, this bad man culture, this negative masculinity that our men have. They think to be a man, you have to be tough. You have to be someone who is violent. You have to have the right trainers. You have to have the right materialistic goods. You have to look the right way. No, if you look at the greatest man ever, the Prophet ﷺ, what are the qualities that exemplify masculinity and his conduct? Mercy, kindness, justice, protecting. Look at this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. I want this, if this is the only thing that sticks in your mind, please. It's narrated, hadith sahih in Riyadh al-Salihin, that a slave girl, a child in Medina, could take the hand of the Prophet ﷺ. It's in the chapter on the rahm of the Prophet ﷺ, on mercy. Could take the hand of the Prophet ﷺ, and she would drag the Prophet ﷺ all around Medina, and the Prophet ﷺ would not let go of the hand. Just think about that. It's not just a beautiful story. Just think about what it means that the leader of all humanity was there for a child and could not bring himself to say, let go of my hand, and would let the child lead him everywhere. Think about yourself. How many children you allow to have that relationship with you? Obviously, coming back onto this tragedy, and I just want to reiterate some of the points for the brothers who came. We are all to blame. We are all responsible. When this happens, and this is the mindset that you need to have, the urgency that you need to have. And tragically, some of your own children might themselves be victims of bullying, unfortunately, and they don't tell you. They're ashamed to tell you. There are so many things in our youth they are ashamed to say to us, or they fear to say to us, because for two reasons. Let's be honest. Why don't our children tell us what's going on? The first reason, my brothers and sisters, and we are all fathers, mothers, elder brothers and sisters, the first reason why, because they say to me, they won't listen. They're not listening to me. They can't even give us 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Too busy with dramas, too busy online, too busy working, too busy with their dealings. They don't listen to me. Number 2, I'm ashamed to talk about it. I'm going to be judged. Or I'm not going to be taken seriously by this matter. And look, the nurturing of our children, this is, when children are going through so many emotional problems, and I said even more so, if you can multiply this amongst our sisters, and about women out there because of the self-harm. Self-harm, okay, obviously the worst aspect of that is suicide, but self-harm rates amongst Muslim sisters is ridiculous, my brothers and sisters. You don't see the self-harm. I hear about it, it's my job. You don't see the self-harm. Cutting, drinking bleach, harming their bodies, just emotionally neglecting themselves. Too many people out there are suffering and are in pain. This is just the tip of the iceberg. May Allah Ta'ala truly enable us to go out there and reach all of them. We are all responsible. We all need to step up, my brothers and sisters. There's always a spotlight on Bradford. Let us become the people who lead the way. As I said, in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, we led the way for the whole world in ethics, in safeguarding, in protection of children. We led the world. But we've lost our way. May Allah Ta'ala truly enable us to reflect deeply upon this. May Allah Ta'ala have mercy upon Asad Khan and give sabr to his family. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر لكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى